I'm Sam Lingle from the Daily Dot, and I'm here with Marty Strenczewilk, one of the newest team owners in the League Championship Series. Your company recently acquired the Dignitas Europe LCS team.
We did.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be in the LCS?
I'm personally geeked out about it. I'm just a huge League of Legends fan. I like watch an insane amount of it to begin with. So the idea that now I get to turn on the television and watch like my team compete is amazing, because I'll sit down with my Chromecast and toss League on, and now it's my team. So yeah, pretty excited.
So what was the process like that led up to you acquiring this team? I mean, you guys are a relatively new company. Can you give a little background about how that came about?
Sure. So early on, we were a website. We're the TV guide of esports. So we started off as we had an editorial page as we were starting to add more content for esports fans. And we were like, how do we start to reach fans, right? As opposed to just Twitter ads or Facebook ads. And we looked into sponsoring teams. And before you knew it, instead of sponsoring teams, we had realized team ownership might be a good option for us, right? Actually call the team our name. And so we picked up a Counter-Strike squad. And we realized we really loved it. Like, we loved owning teams. I come from a theater background, and I think of talent as talent, right? A bunch of actors versus a bunch of players is not all that different. And so it kind of harkened back to those days, and I really kind of enjoyed running that sort of an organization. So we started picking up our other players and growing it, but we were only able to go to a certain level because, you're not on that tier that LCS takes you to. And so when I heard that Odie had to sell off one of his teams for the reasons that the riot is, you can only have one in the major leagues, basically. I honestly just sent an email to him, and not even him, to the main info page, said, hey, I'm interested in talking to somebody. It was total crapshoot, right? Who's going to respond to me? And I got an email back from Odie. It said, here's my Skype, let's talk. And we talked a ton, and I'd say became pretty good friends. I think what was really important to him was that I was really in this for real, that I wasn't just trying to make a quick buck, and that I had a real organization to support these players, because he cares a lot about them and did a lot to build that team, And so me getting this team wasn't just about, hey, here's some cash, walk out the door. It was more about finding an organization from his end that, could support the team properly.
So obviously you sold yourself to Odie, but the fans might not be such an easy sell. So
Sure.
I mean, what was kind of like the pitch that you made to make him believe that you were really like in this for the long term, and that you have like the interest of your players in mind?
I like to also just point back, if you want to know what I'm like with the players, go ask some of the ones I've worked with. The very first person we ever signed was a guy named Visu. He's a Smash 4 commentator. And, we didn't know much about anybody, and we were pointed to him, said he was a good up-and-comer, and so we sponsored Visu. And we didn't have a lot to offer back then. It was a little bit of money, and he agreed to work with us. And that guy is like, you could walk up to him on the street and he will tell you about how great his experience has been working with us, right? Everything we do to try and make his life a little easier, because we believe that the player should be able to just play the game and not have to deal with all the BS that comes along sometimes with things, and that we put a support structure in place that allows them to do that. I think that that's the first part, right, is from the horse's mouth, if you will. But then secondly, that I went out and actually met face-to-face with the players, right? I flew out to Copenhagen, thought that was really important. I sat down with these guys and said, look, here I am. I'm a real person, not some guy behind a curtain, right? We went out, we hung out, we talked my philosophy for team growing, what I think is really important about growing an organization, how we're looking to grow something long-term, not to get the quick win and get out, because I'm a fan first and foremost, right? I love esports. I watch a ton of esports, and so that's where my love really comes from first.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about taking care of the players so that they can just play. You're from New York. The team you bought, like you said, is from Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. You could have. Odie had two teams for sale. One was in LA. So why get this European team? And how are you going to be able to take care of them like across an ocean?
Sure. I guess I would think that LA isn't all that different, to be honest. It's still pretty far away. And for us, we had a lot of North American presence: Counter-Strike, Smash, World of Warcraft, and Hearthstone, all North American players, And we really want to have a European audience as well as, more than just Europe and North America eventually. So right now, that was a good opportunity for us to immediately make an imprint in Europe, And secondly, for us, the big thing is having a good staff. So the first thing I did is I've got to get a really great manager. And I was lucky enough to find Daniel Vorborg through some recommendations and stuff. And I've got a guy who is experienced. He worked with Gamers 2 and had a really good in helping them build some of their infrastructure. So he's got experience. He's also got a degree in business and finance. So he isn't just a guy who's doing esports and has no skills he's bringing to the table. So putting in the pieces in place so that me not being there doesn't mean they don't have support of a good management staff. In fact, right now we're also talking about not just having just a coach, right, but some additional coaching staff beyond that, because just because whatever your minimum is isn't necessarily that infrastructure I was talking about, right, is getting enough of those pieces in place that really shows the guys we're supporting them in every way we can.
Okay. So taking a step back, I kind of want to talk about like you and your company. I mean, obviously you guys are pretty new in esports. It seemed like you didn't really necessarily know exactly what you wanted to be, and now you're kind of like a team. So I mean, could you just talk a little bit about who you are, who you guys are, and how you got into the business?
Sure. So I'm one of those people that I wanted to solve a problem because it was my problem. Okay, and that I'm a huge Hearthstone fan. I would turn on Twitch, and a match would be 10 minutes from being over, and I had no idea it was on. And I got very frustrated with it because Hearthstone was such a new game at the time, and it wasn't really easy to find, like League of Legends, right? Really easy to find the times. So I said to my buddy, we were college roommates, I said, here's my idea. I really want to put together this TV guide so that people don't have to struggle anymore. And let me tell you, when I first started, I was the guy filling in the database at the beginning, right? He built the site, I'm filling in the database, and I was spending hours every day because it is so incredibly difficult. And we've gotten better at it. We've built relationships with developers and tournament organizers, so now they give us some of that information as well. But long story short is it's still a very necessary service. So that was our start, is that we wanted to do that. But I also wanted to make a place where fans can go to really enjoy esports on another level, and so we're adding new things like the editorial section, right? So we have now a place where you can hear what do the biggest influencers out there think about the state of their scene, whether it's StarCraft and In Control's writing for us, or Thorn writing on CSGO and League of Legends, etc. So we have more plans for that, to continue to do that, but we want people to be able to come to our site and engage in esports in a whole different way. So the team is kind of a nice extension of that, if you will, because it's not just that they're synergistic from a marketing perspective, and that's all great, but I can enjoy the team, watching them play. I can enjoy the site, the additional features it offers for me as a fan watching. I can kind of have that total experience as a fan of our brand for FollowEsports.
So, are you worried at all about like conflicts of interest because you own a team competing while you're covering the tournaments? Obviously, there's a lot of such that do it, like Team Liquid, for example.
Right.
But, I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
So our coverage, the way we do coverage is, I shouldn't even say coverage, because I guess that's not the word I would use, right? We're not a news outlet, we're purely editorial. So we don't report on the scores, we don't make predictions or things like that, and the writers are completely freelance. So you take Thorn, he writes for 2 other publications. League of Emily, she writes for LOL Esports as well as us. We have Visu, and these people who, they're coming to us because I give them a platform where they can write on anything they want related to their topic of interest in esports, as long as it's not offensive, right? They're not going to be homophobic or racist or any of the misogynistic, etc. And they've gone out and they've attacked some of the policies that some of these game developers have done, and we let them do that. And so I think that shows a little bit of, we're not going to hold the bar or any of that kind of stuff, right? It's an editorial section, so we let them be editorial. If we were ever to get into things like coverage of, I can see what you're saying, coverage of events or stuff like that, but that's just not any of our goal at this point. There's enough places doing great coverage of events, so.